Hello everybody, my name is Miles Home, and today I will be discussing the subject of media coverage on mass violence. Within this subject, there are two very differing arguments in regards to this topic, but with that, media coverage is spread daily by newscasters and reporters, and as violent incidents increase, questions among the people are raised on whether or not it is ethical for it to be reported in the first place. Although people find the whole ordeal to be off-putting given such violence is subjected to the youth that still watches television along with different news outlets. But as we move back to our main objective, these two very constantly differing opinions based on the consistent issue of media coverage on violence is still an ongoing topic that is often spoken about daily. Along with that, as many journalists press the right of freedom of speech and freedom of press and are often in favor of this side, feel that the public has the right to be informed on such topics. Most audiences find that the public tends to show an interest in the details of crimes committed, and multiple news outlets tend to find that devoting resources to reporting violent crimes helps them remain as competitive as ever in the media market. Although most news reporters find that it is within the public's right to understand what is going on, it is usually in the news outlet's best interest of gaining funds through views. More broadcasted violence brings in more news and funds and views. Though, regarding this issue, does bring in the ethical side of it. Many critics and outlets state that bringing such acts of violence to light can only create celebrities out of these crimes. This can bring forth new ideas and motives to commit atrocities, and as well deny the families and victims of these atrocities to the right of their privacy. It's even claimed that law enforcement and mental health professionals caution that excessive coverage of violence can only inspire further violence. Although even leading after this, research can also suggest that consumption of media coverage of collective traumas can be considered a rational response for those individuals who are anxious about recent events, or violent events that can take place in public areas. An example that can play into this is the yearly news coverage of the September 11th terrorist attacks. Even though it has already happened many years ago, it is still covered yearly and can still progress in increased distress over time. And even with this, an individual's media use for collective trauma can fuel a cycle of distress that can increase more and more over time. And with media coverage being at our fingertips, it is more than easy to find it to be overwhelming. But, without said media coverage, there would be more widespread panic if people had no clue what was going on or how to avoid it. With the media's extensive coverage on violence, people manage to find ways to protect themselves after learning about these things. And although it can be dangerous for even reporters to cover, if it were live, it would still give people the chance to learn from it. Intaking knowledge on violence can be traumatic on society, and even though the more you learn, the less afraid you become. Though, in this case, most believe it shouldn't be that way, but without some sort of coverage, there would be more crimes being committed. To conclude, reports of mass violence have both positively and negatively affected society, and multiple claims are still made daily on both arguing sides and consistently impact the media coverage input.